All right, last week we talked about feudalism in Japan. Um, there's a lot of similarities and comparisons to the medieval era in Europe with that. That's going to be the only material that we cover in Unit 8. Everything else we're going to do is we're going to start today with Unit 9, and we're going to test over Unit 9 and that one section from Unit 8. All right. So today we're going to talk about the Enlightenment. All right, central question, what are the key ideas of the Enlightenment? All right, so from 1650 to 1800, the European philosophers, they began to rethink some of the old ideas. This is going to kind of sound like what we talked about with the Renaissance, right? Sort of that rebirth and rethinking and questioning things. But what these ideas we're looking at now, these are more focused on societal ideas, things like government, religion, and economics, right? These are three very important areas when we're looking at humans, right? Human nature and society and things like that. So this period of time here with the Enlightenment is along these ideas in terms of focus. So this era is known as the Enlightenment, also called the Age of Reason. Right, so the intellectuals, right, or the smart people during the time, the philosophers, these philosophs is what they're known as. They share some basic beliefs, right? So there's four things here we're fixing to look at on some things that they pretty much all agree on to some degree, right? One of those is new truths could be discovered by using logic and reason. Okay, so similarly to like the scientific revolution. We were talking about the use of logic and the scientific method and reasoning and those sort of things. These philosophers here, they believe that. They also believe that everything can be explained by observing universal truths known as natural laws. Again, taking some elements from the scientific revolution and science. Right? They all share this belief in progress, right? That the world can be improved and that life should be enjoyed. And then the last thing they all generally share is this belief that people are born with natural rights, right? So like personal freedom, protection of liberty, right? Just to name a couple examples. Right, so these four things here are what these philosophers generally share, right, in terms of some basic beliefs. Right, so there are four pictures here on the board. Right. Can anybody tell me what any of these things are depicting? This one should probably be the easiest. What is this showing us? Do what? All right, colonization, that age of exploration. Anybody remember what this one is? Huh? Right, Martin Luther, right? This is showing him nailing the 95 Theses to the door, right? Talking about the Protestant Reformation. These two are a little bit more difficult, just trying to figure out what the picture's showing. First one is the Renaissance. So looking here at the Renaissance, right? Just a little recap. So this is why did the Renaissance begin? These are all going to play influential roles in the Enlightenment era, right? This age of reason. Right? Looking specifically at the Renaissance, right? People began to question those medieval ideas, right? Really those old classical ideas that they got from all the way back with the Greeks and the Romans. We also see this emphasis on human potential, right? That idea of humanism. Right? We also see education coming back in Europe as well, right? Encouraging education, learning, literacy. Right? Remember, during the Middle Ages, right, very few people outside of the church could read and write. But with the Renaissance, we start to see that coming back. During the age of exploration, we're seeing discovery, right? New lands, right? New trade routes. Right? Put yourself in the shoes of a person in Europe, right? In the 1500s, 1400s, right? You find out and you discover that there's an entire another continent or two continents over there with North and South America that are massive. You had no idea they even existed. Okay, that's a massive, massive thing, an entire piece of land on this planet you didn't know exist, right? Imagine what other new things are out there, right? And they're going to probably be much smaller, right? So it sparks this curiosity for these people in Europe at this time. Protestant Reformation is ongoing at this point, right? We see people questioning the church's teachings as well, related to all the corruption with the Catholic Church, the selling of indulgences, and those things we talked about in that unit. We see people free to explore new ideas with religion. We see the tolerating of other religions as well. Christianity at this point is divided up into several different denominations now, right? And we know about Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, those other monotheistic religions that we've talked about. And then lastly, what we most recently talked about, right, the age of absolute monarchs. Right, these kings, they're all powerful, they're living these grand lifestyles, spending all this money, going to fight in wars because they want to gain hopefully a little bit of land, ruling without people's regard. Right, they're just doing what they want. Give y'all extra couple minutes here. I know this is a bunch of typing on this slide. Right, so all four of these, Renaissance, Age of Exploration, Protestant Reformation, and absolute monarchs, right? These different eras here in recent history are all partly why the Enlightenment begins. Scientific revolution also plays a major role. All right, we're seeing these scholars from that era, right? Galileo, example of one. We see them perfecting the scientific method, right? Making new discoveries, shattering old ideas. One of those biggest old ideas that was shattered during this time was what? Do what? About the solar system?
Yeah, like the solar system, the Earth was in the middle of the solar system.
All right, that was the old idea. What's the new idea?
The sun.
Right, that the sun is actually at the center of the solar system, right, that we live in. Right, anybody, y'all remember the name of that theory?
Which one? The Big Bang.
Not the Big Bang, after the Big Bang.
Which one?
Which one's which?
The one with the M is the one.
Huh?
The one with the M is the one with the sun in the middle. That's why I know.
Heliocentric, right? Sun is at the center of the solar system here, heliocentric. Geocentric is the one that had the Earth at the center, right? So we see people trying to make these, try to apply, right? This scientific approach, using the scientific method and these theories, right? Taking that from science into society, right? With society, I'm talking about economy, government, religion, right? Those are societal issues. So we see this Enlightenment era give a model to follow, right? So that these people can begin making new theories about society.